up, everybody, and welcome to the Taitt Show. Today I'm joined with Kurt Angle. I remember watching him on WWE SmackDown. He's an Olympic gold medalist. I can't wait to see what nuggets he has for us. He's such an inspirational figure. I'm here at the Dare to Be Extraordinary event. He's here celebrating children who have special needs. And I'm so happy that he could come all the way to Brooklyn from Philadelphia just to share a little time with us. So let's see what he has in store for us. Let's see. I gotta focus, guys. Bye. It is so good to finally meet you. You're here in Brooklyn, New York. You're here at the Dare to Be Extraordinary event. Tell me, why did you choose to come out to this event?
Well, I wanted to do something for disabled children, give them a chance. Dare to Be Extraordinary. It's a very young charity, but we're trying to help these kids. Give them a chance. Give them, programs from athletics to programs academically. Dare to Be Extraordinary is willing to step up and help these kids, especially the disabled children.
Oh yes, and we're so thankful that you decided to come out for an event such as this. We're raising awareness for kids who have special needs and all types of special needs. It's all from 0 to 100, but all kids with autism are all quite unique in their own right.
It's great. The children are great. I've met children, that are disabled with autism. They're all great kids. I met kids that actually couldn't walk, It's hard because they all ask you, hey, is there a program in amateur wrestling where disabled children can wrestle other disabled children? No, there isn't. Not yet, but a charity like Dare to Be Extraordinary wants to be able to get amateur wrestling and any other sport involved and try to, like we have the Paralympics, okay? That's obviously for, paralyzed athletes. But what about the other disabled athletes, the children with special needs? So I think that this is a start, and it's a good start. And I believe that eventually we're going to be able to have children with special needs against children with special needs. In amateur wrestling right now, if you have special needs, it doesn't matter. You're going against the #1 guy in the state.
Of course.
That doesn't seem to be very fair. So we're trying to get these programs started, and I think this is a great start.
And what piece of advice would you even give to parents who have children with special needs?
Two things. Give the Dare to Be Extraordinary. Give the money any way you can. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. And also spread the word. Spread the word about Dare to Be Extraordinary. Any charity like this, and this is a relatively new charity, the more you can give, the more you can spread the word, the more people are going to give, and the more we can make it happen.
And I think you touched on a very relevant point. For parents who have children who have special needs, they're constantly trying to reach that next pinnacle, to push their child to reach that next level of success, and to push them to get to that ultimate level. And you have done the same thing within your sport of wrestling. Now, I know I watched you growing up on TV for many years. I was watching you on Thursday nights, and I was always glued to the TV. It was at 9 p.m., and I think that you were surely a staple figure within a lot of 90s babies worlds at that time. So just take me back to the 96 Olympics. You were the gold medalist. Tell me, how did it feel to reach that accomplishment?
Oh man, it was the greatest day of my life and the absolute worst day of my life. When you have that kind of success, it's addictive. I dreamed about it since I was 5 years old. That's all I dreamed about. That's all I ever wanted. Did I really know it was going to happen for sure? No. But I took chances, and I think taking chances enabled me to make mistakes, and those mistakes enabled me to have success, because you have to make mistakes before you have success.
Yes.
But winning that gold medal was the proudest day of my life, besides the day that I had my kids, my 4 kids. But literally the next day was the most depressed day of my life, because what was I going to do? That's all I thought about doing. That's all I focused on. What was I going to do now? And I had to kind of reignite my fire under me and focus on something else, and that's when pro wrestling came to a head.
And what tools did you use? What would you say your 3 tools in your magic box were to reach that level?
What I always preach in the WWE, intensity, integrity, and intelligence.
The 3 I's.
The 3 I's, and everybody always asks, is that something you made up? No, it was what I really followed by. Now, did I do it in WWE? No, I was a bad guy, but in my life growing up, yes, I definitely went by the 3 I's. I was very intense about everything I did. I had very much integrity, and I was intelligent about the decisions I made, and that's why I won a gold medal.
And what was your training schedule even like preparing for such an Olympic, world-renowned competition?
Yeah, I kept the training well, and I'd be happy to show you it someday. I trained 8 to 10 hours a day, every day of the week, every day of the month. I did take a half a day off a month. That was about it. I did it so much that when I won the gold medal in the Olympics, I did win a world title in 1995 as well. So I was a back-to-back champion. I didn't want to continue anymore. And a lot of the reason I didn't want to continue in the Olympics or go for the next Olympics, I was burned out. I really pushed myself hard, and the training really got to me. The training and the pressure, and I knew it was time for me to move on. And
and you did it.
And I did it, but I can tell you that the training I put myself through was was I'd have to say is, in a way, it was torture. Yeah.
So from dominating at the Olympics in '96 and winning the Worlds in '95, you now move on to WWF and TNA. Tell me about what was that experience, that transition like?
It was like night and day. I mean, being an Olympic gold medalist, going into WWE and doing sports entertainment, not so much real sport. It was a lot of adapting, but I picked up fast. I studied the best, the Stone Colds, the Triple H's, the Undertakers. Learned from them, and before I knew it, within 10 months of when I started, I was world champion. I beat The Rock for the title.
Wow.
I don't think anyone's ever done it that fast. But I was a good listener, a good learner, quick learner, and within my second year or third year, I was considered the best in the business.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a blessing, to be honest with you. But the injuries I sustained in WWE and the schedule I had seemed to, for me, was a bit too much, and that's when I had to take my chances by leaving and going to Impact Wrestling, which I don't regret. I'm glad I did. It was a reduced schedule. I got my life back, but I enjoyed everything I did in WWE, and Vince McMahon was great, but it was time for me to move on.
Continue transitions, and change is good. So you've won 21 championships, am I correct?
I don't know.
Well, okay, so you won 21 championships. As you become older and older, do the accolades become sweeter and sweeter?
Yeah, I just won a world title last night against Bobby Lashley, and I have to tell you, since my first world title against The Rock, this has been one of the proudest moments in my pro wrestling career, because I'm 46 years old, and a lot of fans are looking at me and saying, this kid doesn't have it anymore. He's 46 going on 100 because he's taken so many bumps and put his body through hell. But to be able to have a 5-star match with Bobby Lashley the way I did last night, I was pretty excited, pretty proud, and I got a little emotional when I won the title. But it showed me that I'm still in my prime, even though I'm not.
You got it.
I don't know how you say that, or how you do it, but yeah, I can still go with the young guys, and I'm very, very excited about that.
You're the OG.
Yeah. And Bobby Lashley's a beast, still goes.
Do you realize the impact that you have had on so many kids, even adults' lives, as they've watched you mature and almost go through a metamorphosis throughout your wrestling career?
I wasn't expecting any accolade like that. It makes me feel good because, a lot of times you have to be in the WWE to get that kind of accolade, but I was able to do it when I was in TNA. That is probably will never happen again, but it makes me proud because I was that good, and I might not be now, but I'm pretty close. So it just feels good to be able to have kids that look up to me and even have their parents look at me and say, this is how I can want my kid to be.
Yeah.
I got in some trouble in my life. I made some wrong decisions, but where I am right now, I'm in a good place in my life, and I think people can see that. And, the way I feel about myself right now, I'm very high on myself. And, I'd like to be that role model for those kids. And even though I might be a little out of touch as far as age, a 12-year-old might not be as much into a 46-year-old as he would be into a 21-year-old. I still take on the honor of being a role model. And
you're continuing to be extraordinary. Of course, you've reached so much within your career, but I know that you have so much more to give, and there's so much more for you to achieve, and there's so many more people's lives that you've yet to touch. Tell me, has wrestling really changed from back then till now?
Oh, wrestling has changed. It's always changing. Back then, there was a lot more action, a lot more movement. Wrestlers didn't sell as much. In other words, it was just action-packed. It just didn't stop. Now you're seeing wrestlers start to learn the art of pro wrestling, and that selling is a part of it. I like that because it slows the pace down a little bit. And the older I get, the slower I want to go. So, but yeah, it's always changing. And eventually, in a few years, it's going to change back to the no-sell concept. Wrestling's always changing, always evolving, just like anything else. But it seems like it's back on the upswing. And I believe it's because of the style that we're wrestling right now.
And what were some of the wrestlers that you favored back then and even now?
Gosh,
The Undertaker was always my favorite.
Privilege. Undertaker is first on the list. I had the privilege of wrestling so many great wrestlers: Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, John Cena in his young days.
Yes.
Then going to Impact Wrestling, wrestling AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and Sting and Jeff Jarrett, Mr. Anderson, and just. There have been a lot of great wrestlers, but I'd have to say that can't forget about Shawn Michaels, one of my best performances ever, WrestleMania 21. But Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, two of a kind. Wow, both of them, for their size and their weight, they were the best.
And what was it like working with Vince McMahon?
Vince is crazy. I got along with him really well. We had a lot of fun. We had some falling outs, but nothing that has prevented us from not still being in touch and talking. And I had a blast with Vince. We had a good time. We drew ratings, made money. We spent a lot of time together. I was the guy. It felt good. I'm very grateful and indebted to Vince for giving me the opportunity that he gave me in WWE. It was great.
How much of it is really real?
We are in sports entertainment, and I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence. There's a predetermined winner. The two wrestlers that are out there know who the winner is going to be. But I'd say 90% of that match is very real. The bumping, the jarring, the slamming on the canvas, which is not canvas, it's plywood. There are just so many things, so many aspects to it that make it very brutal on your body. That's why I'm here right now. I ran 3 miles this morning, but it took everything I had to run those 3 miles because my body's just getting so banged up from pro wrestling. I thought amateur wrestling was bad. Gosh, pro wrestling is 10 times worse. But, it takes a toll on your body. And you only have so many years to give, and then you have to move on to something else. And I'm in that transition right now where it's time for me to start thinking about something else.
Well, transitions are always good. Do you think that wrestlers are given as much credit as they should be?
I think some wrestlers get enough credit. I think some wrestlers don't. It's just like anything else. Would I say from a celebrity status? Yes and no. I mean, I'll give you an example. In Hollywood, wrestlers aren't treated as actors, even though they are. That's okay. But as far as the respect from the fans make up for that. They're awesome. The wrestling fans they're just loyal, and you don't get any more loyal than pro wrestling fans, and that's great.
And I mean, this is a question that's been burning in my head. What made you walk out of ECW but stay for the Attitude Era?
The entertainment value that I saw with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and seeing those guys do what they did. ECW was a different animal. It wasn't really wrestling. It was a bunch of weapons being used in the ring, and then, a guy being crucified on a cross. I know ECW made their mark, but that night, what I saw garbage. But I've seen ECW at other times, and they've done pretty well. Paul Heyman's great. I love Paul Heyman. But the night that I was there, it wasn't a very good night. But I'd say watching the entertainment value that Vince McMahon brought to the table in WWF at the time, it was fun. It was exciting. It was every week there was something new that Kurt Angle was going to do and make fans laugh. It was a blast.
Well, Kurt, I just want to thank you for just coming down to the Phil Taitt Show, for showing love to the Dare to Be Extraordinary event. You've inspired us all. I feel like I'm talking to one of the people who I've looked up to since I've been a little boy, watching you on TV every Thursday night, dying to get that antenna straight so I can see you say some of your speeches and to scream and for you to come out of the dome. And you've inspired so many of us. You've inspired my generation. I can just imagine the generations that are to come that continue to look up to you as a prominent figure, as an inspirational figure. We look up to you. We salute you. You are one of our legends. And Kurt, I just want to thank you so much for coming down here. And I know that the best is yet to come.
Thank you very much.
Until next time, all right?
Glad to be on. Yes.
Thank you.
Until
Thank
next
you.
time, I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. All right.